neighbors. Welcome to another episode of Tipsy Neighbors. We are 5 friends with varied opinions and backgrounds. We openly and honestly discuss the subject of the day. No topic is off limits. In fact, if you'd like us to chat about something that's been on your mind, find us on the web at tipsyneighbors.com, on Instagram at The Tipsy Neighbors, or on X, formerly Twitter, at Tipsy Neighbors. Now let's get this episode started. Okay, it is now 2024, and we just finished up Christmas. So,
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Merry Christmas!
Oh my goodness.
and all the holiday things. I feel like finally we're able to get back and get kids back in school here pretty quick.
There's a lot going on in 2 months. Really a month almost.
Yeah,
So it's good.
little over a month is just jam-packed.
And I just want to take a long, long nap. But before we get to sleep, how were your Christmases? Whitney, why don't you kick us off? How was DeMoss Christmas this year?
It was pretty laid back this year. We're big on hit the ground running. Kids get us up early, and then we're out the door to like all the grandparents, and we see everyone, right?
Have you ever seen the movie Four Christmases?
Yeah.
That's us. It's like 94 Christmases. So we literally do
94.
minus maybe 89 of them. But I mean, I think we do a ton of Christmas family stuff. So we go to a bunch of.
But this year was actually very different. The girls got us up at 7:45. We did Christmas. We hung out until 12:30 and then went to my mom's parents and hung out there for a few hours. And then we came home and had people over to our house for dinner.
Yeah. There's a lot of change in Whitney's family right now.
Yeah.
So the parents are going through a divorce. And so it's kind of thrown everything for a loop this year. This is year 1.
This is always a time of year too that those dynamics really magnify too. So when you're having those changes, they really magnify during the holidays.
For sure. Luckily, things went really smooth. Both my parents came to Christmas dinner at our house, and it was fine. So it was just more of a laid-back Christmas for us, and I enjoyed it. It was really nice.
Because we would typically get up to Christmas presents for like an hour and a half.
Sure.
And then we would run to Whitney's parents' house to have like a big family brunch and open presents there for Christmas number 2. And then we would go to her grandparents' house for Christmas number 3. And then we would always end up at other grandparents or something for Christmas number 4.
And then back
So do you
somewhere
ever
for
go to
dinner.
your family's house on Christmas?
No. So
He has family?
that accept me or no. So I guess once Whitney and I got married, we kind of found out that her family
Were you
does
the
a lot.
family record?
My family hangs out like 4 times a year as like siblings. Whitney's family, when I started dating her and got married, it was like 4 times
A week.
right? And so that was a little new
day.
to me. And then my sister, she married a guy, and his family was that way too, where they were just like, every waking minute, we should probably find out where our siblings are and hang out with them, is what it felt like for my family. And I think because of that, we always said, hey, if we want our families to all see each other during the holidays, we should probably schedule instead of doing like an
Probably
every
do it
other
before or
year.
after the actual holiday.
And so that's what we decided is it was
right.
either the week before or the week after. It's the same with Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We always do 2. One, my family's just either usually earlier or later, and Christmas, same thing.
This podcast is
So-
making me realize I thought I was the laid-back one in the relationship.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, like I think it's kind of cool that you guys have figured that out, like of what works, because I think that is a big struggle for people of like, whose family do we go hang out with, and whose traditions can we still be a part of? And then it's
Totally.
like, but if they don't, and it's hard to do that because then you've got so many siblings that have split schedules as well, and and so
My
that's
mom
cool
fights
that-
us every year on it because my mom wants to do it on the actual holiday, like when we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of
just
those
too
things
hard.
where I'm like, if you want to see all of us at the same time,
Yeah.
This is the best way for us to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, and bless my mom's heart, like for their party, she was searching for, it seemed like a few weeks before to find a date where everybody could attend. And she actually moved it 2 or 3 times because my baby daughter has ballroom practices on opposite sides of the country. And so she's trying to adjust the schedule just to make sure that she would be able to participate. And of course, at the last minute, after everything was set up and it was 2 days away, she had to jump on a plane and go to Pennsylvania for practice. So it didn't work out anyways.
Her heart was in the right place.
Yeah, bless my mom's heart for being so willing to go to that extra effort to schedule.
Ty, did your mom listen to the Thanksgiving episode and invite a bunch of people?
Oh my
to Christmas?
goodness.
No, the unexpected guest. Oh, well, I'll just call them that from now on. Maybe we should talk about that. My sister Natalie, who was divorced shortly after I was, her ex-husband and her get along great. So he invited her to his family party, and she kind of felt this obligation to, I think,
Return the favor.
to return the favor. So he came, and it was actually okay.
That's awesome.
It was just like, hey,
How
Uncle
long
Chad's here.
have they been
That's awesome.
divorced? Just like
Oh gosh,
out of pure
how many
curiosity
hours?
on my end.
how many hours?
Yeah, no, it's. I want to say maybe 18 months, maybe 2 years
Oh,
is
wow.
what they're pushing now. I think. I'm not quite sure.
So Thanksgiving,
Well, good for them. That's
Thanksgiving, you had like a Thanksgiving Moses. Was this your Christmas Moses? That guy?
No, Chad. I mean, everybody knew him, right?
He's the
it's
Christmas
kind of
Chad.
and I mean,
Christmas
we were
Chad.
trying to get a family picture all set up, and the
Oh, that's awkward.
somebody was trying to.
There's one guy that can take it, I know.
Well, and it was funny because he was actually in the picture. And he was on the edge though, because
Of
he
course.
wasn't
And
sure
then you
if they
can crop
wanted
him
him or
out,
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
That turns weird.
And I said, Chad, get in the picture or we're going to kick you out of the family. You know, and everybody kind of,
course.
So I love the awkward laughs over there. So I always push for that.
Well, what did Christmas look like for you guys?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, Ty, like with your kids, like what does Christmas look like for you?
It's a little crazy. I mean, because Christmas obviously is a big thing. So the kids do split time. They will spend Christmas Eve, roughly around dinner time or whatever. If somebody has a party or something like that, then there's time to attend that. Then they'll spend the night with that parent. And then roughly around 1 p.m., the kids switch, which kind of sucks because we used to ski on Christmas Day. And that's kind of impossible with this
that doesn't
schedule.
leave much
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. If you try to go up at 1 o'clock on Christmas Day, you won't find parking in Salt Lake City for any resort. So that makes that sort of thing tough. But, this year with Fiona being in competition season and some things like that, there wasn't a huge push to get up there.
Yeah.
And Ivy and Lennox have their own vehicles, so they're up there all the time anyway.
So competition season, just for the listeners, Fiona
Yes.
does ballroom.
Yes.
And competes.
So, yep. And it seems like a constant thing with us. Partner drama makes partner changes really difficult, especially during competition season. And so she's done that a couple of times this year and has to relearn stuff. Anyway, her schedule gets super busy. So I was lucky to have her on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I just kind of look at it like that. Like we tried to maximize as much of the time as we could. Christmas Eve, I did steaks on the grill. It was warm enough to barbecue. So we had a nice dinner like that. And then Lennox found a Nintendo game that we could all play together. So we kind of did some of those things together. And then, it was just nice. The next day, woke up not too early because they sleep in. Open presents. My parents appeared around noon, and then
They came by.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and then after that, they took off. They went to their mom's, so it was nice.
So does that what your parents like? Did they kind of hop to the different siblings' homes kind of throughout the day. And then,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
that's cool.
So they'll make the rounds and bring over a few gifts, and whatnot. So I will say, my mom was like, hey, Ty, why don't you tell your kids like 2 Christmases that you remember, and one, the first one was,
this is setting up a story.
Yeah. I'll make it really quick though.
Oh, no. I'm saying it was putting you in a predicament with your kids and your parents.
For sure. So one year I received ski boots from Santa Claus. And then after we kind of had gone through a bunch of the presents, my dad said, oh, you guys didn't check the front room. And I went around the corner and there were skis and ski poles there too. So I got the full kit. It was super exciting. And that was definitely one of my favorite Christmases. And then the other one, I talked about the year that my grandmother gave me manners books.
No.
And my mom was mortified because she's like, that's not a good memory. And I just looked at her and I said, yeah, but it's a memory.
But it's one I remember.
Oh my gosh,
memorable.
that is amazing. I am so glad you brought that up.
So it was kind of just a paint. There's highs and lows, and that really is what sticks out to me.
So obviously she remembered that too.
Oh, yes.
She doesn't want to, but she does.
And please tell everybody how old you were.
I was 9 years old.
Man, you must have been a hellion.
And
I actually wasn't, but I was just the grandchild that, I mean, come on.
Well, grandma thought
Were you
otherwise.
as quick-witted as you are now? Because
maybe that was my problem. Maybe I caught somebody, witty remark and it rubbed somebody the wrong
what
way.
did you say to your grandma?
I don't even remember. When she gave me the books, I just remember being super disappointed because everybody else was opening really cool stuff like usual. And I was kind of like,
it's such a young
how do I
age.
take this?
Yeah, it's such a young age, not even being able to comprehend that and fully understand, but yet feeling really shitty about it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. It wasn't super fun. But
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about fun stuff.
Great memory, though. Great memory.
I wasn't thinking about it,
unfortunately.
but we had Ty over on Christmas for dinner.
Yeah, Ty
this
came
year.
to our house for Christmas.
So with all
I was
Whitney's
gonna mention
family
that.
and everybody else, Ty came over.
Which actually,
his
you
kids were
guys,
gone.
that was so sweet of you guys because when the kids do leave, that's when
Kind of a gut punch.
Yeah.
you kind of start feeling like, oh yeah, I'm divorced and I don't get to spend all day with the kids and they're gone. So I really appreciate that invite.
It was
And
great.
being able
We're
to
glad
spend
you're there.
time with all your family.
We love to have people over at our house.
We love it. We're always inviting people to our house.
Was I your Moses?
Yeah, you could have.
Who is this Jesus-looking guy in the background?
You could have just asked Ty to work that day.
That's true. Can you take a shift at the hospital for me?
We did ask him to
I need
bring
a call
drinks,
person.
I am a surgeon on the side. So.
It's just a hobby. Justin, what did Christmas look like for you and Curry?
This year it was a little different for us. So we actually went on a vacation before Christmas and had planned to be back on Christmas Eve so that we could kind of be at our home and still do Christmas. And I'd say the vacation we went on, we went to Portugal. So it was more for Curry and I than it was for the kids. So I didn't feel like saying, hey, like this is your Christmas present type of a thing.
Sure.
And so we got back on Christmas Eve, and I'll just say I will never travel like that again and come back like right before Christmas. We were so exhausted. We were so tired from the flight back.
Because it wasn't a relaxing trip. It was you guys were on your feet.
Oh yeah, we were
17,000 steps a day.
Like we saw so many things in 10 days that like when we were on our way home, we were just like, holy cow, we really never thought through that of like how much downtime we probably needed to like recover and to get some rest and things like that. So
yeah, for sure.
And then, like our worst nightmare happened and we ended up getting the flu on Christmas Eve night. I could start feeling it hitting and I was like, no, this is just from being tired. Like there's no way that we're going to get sick on Christmas. And sure enough, like we put the kids to bed at 7:00 that night.
Did the kids get sick?
No, but like what kids go to bed at 7 o'clock on Christmas Eve?
They had
like,
to have been exhausted too, though.
And it was actually really nice because it was
some
like
melatonin.
Yeah, they were in bed by
Go see
7.
Santa.
We had done everything prior to the trip, so honestly, like we were in bed by 8:30, and Curry and I both looked at each other and we're like, never in our lives have we ever been to bed at 8:30 on Christmas Eve. Like what the hell?
For real.
But yeah, so we woke up and we just did Christmas at our house, which is honestly like pretty standard for us. So we like to do Christmas Eve. Usually we'll do a Christmas Eve dinner, and it's, you know, we grill some steaks and some shrimp and stuff, and that's pretty consistent. This year we decided to do that on Christmas Day, just because we knew we were going to be tired and getting back and stuff. So, but it's pretty chill for us. Like my family is, all of my cousins all of my sisters and all of the kids' cousins are in Idaho. So my sisters that live down here in Utah don't have kids that are Piper and Sevy's age. So
Got it.
For them, like it's always kind of this weird thing because like growing up, I always did have cousins or I had siblings to play with all day on Christmas. And it was kind of that was really super exciting for me. And to run down the street and be able to tell your cousins like what you got, and then you got to see what they got, and then you got to play. Like, but the kids don't have that here. Curry's family, they don't include us in their holidays or life in general. And so, which is kind of like going back to like you guys having to decide whose family you're going to go hang out with.
There's
Like,
no decision.
I've never had to do that. I've always got to hang out with my family if I wanted to hang out with my family. So there's kind of a benefit to that.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
As you see the
Marry
DeMosses
someone
race
with
from
no
house
family.
to house.
Yeah. Making sure we have a full tank of gas
I
for the
just
day.
have a lot of family. So
There's a lot to do that day.
Whitney cooked 4 turkeys. She's got to get them to 4 different parties.
No, but like I would say this year it stuck out probably a little, or it was a magnified a little bit for me, only because we were so sick, Curry and I, that Piper was just playing by herself. And she did have, you know, her new presents that she was playing with, but like for me, I just felt bad because I'm like, oh, like she really wants a friend or needs a friend to play with. But like, we're sick. I'm not going to send her across the street. I'm not going to ask for neighbors to come play because I don't want to get everybody else sick. So it's kind of that. It was just a really,
if you would have reached out,
year.
I think everyone in Utah was sick that week.
I had no idea. I had no idea.
It was bad.
But it's just we always hate that when
Totally.
like, so we
No one
try to be
wants
careful.
send their kid when there's a chance
come
they could
play
be
with my
exposing
kid.
someone.
Yep.
Well, then it's
Exactly.
like 4 hours later, you're like, yeah, I just feel like absolute garbage. You're like, oh, thanks.
Yep,
Thanks
exactly.
for the notice.
Yes.
Well, that should also
exactly.
be a law of the universe that parents cannot be sick at the same time.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh, it was the first time that we've ever had to deal with that. Usually it's like,
One or the other.
Yeah.
yes, exactly. And it's the first time we've ever been completely sick. And like, honestly, I don't
Like
know that
deathly
I've
sick
ever been
almost.
that sick in my life. Like it was so bad that I don't know how single parents do it. Like they don't have
just
an
have an
option.
yeah.
Are you like the stereotypical man cold sick when you get sick, or Curry?
Like
I
you're
mean-
dying.
Does
Like when
it
I get
knock you
sick,
down?
when I get sick, I always tell people, I'm like, Whitney probably hates me because I'm like, I'm dying. Like because it just sucks. Like if I'm not running at 100%,
If you
like,
could only
I feel
see
like
the
I'm dying.
look on Whitney's face right now.
You guys, it is that typical, like, if he's not
can't-
feeling good, he's like in bed.
I'm useless.
like-
I'm useless.
Or laying on the couch. Yeah, he does nothing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sick too, but the kids still have things going on, or they still have to get out the door.
Still
or
did
there's,
laundry, dude.
You imagine being fast forwarded to the 3rd trimester. That's how we feel as guys.
Oh my God.
I was like 3rd and a half trimester.
Third
I think
and a
he was
half?
giving birth. He was giving birth. So
You were late,
Well,
Brad.
so Scotty, our youngest, got sick first like a month ago. She gave it to Whitney. Whitney got deathly ill. Whitney gave it to me. I was somewhat getting better for like a week and a half. And it was the weekend right before Christmas. I started getting it again. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
yeah.
Repeat.
And so I had one of my doctor friends write me a prescription to CVS. So I went to go pick it up Friday night on my way to my family's Christmas party. And the line was like 45 minutes long.
Oh,
so wait in line. And they're like, sorry, there's only 2 of us working here. We can't find enough staff. Any prescription that was called in today, we haven't filled. Oh. If you want it filled, you have to go wait in this troubled person line.
What?
And I was
you
like,
are a troubled person. So.
I was like, I'm not doing that shit. Like, I'm on my way to a Christmas party. I'll come back tomorrow on Saturday morning.
You're the one that's out spreading this shit. You're headed to another Christmas party.
Well, it's not spreading
feeling
it when everyone
the way
has
that
it.
you're feeling.
Everyone standing in that damn line has the same thing
See
I
what we
have.
said? We don't believe that at all.
That makes sense why he's wearing the mask right now.
It's the herd immunity.
Residual guilt.
But I went back Saturday morning. CVS was closed. Not only are they closed Saturday, they're closed Sunday, and they're closed Monday because of the holiday.
Wait, was this CVS in Highland?
No, in Sandy.
I don't think businesses can be open in Highland on Sunday. I think that's still a thing.
True.
I think it is, yeah.
But it was horrible. I ended up getting sick. I ended up with like what I thought was an ear infection. It hurt, and so I'm whining and crying to Whitney. I still can't hear out of that ear a week later.
What?
What?
Well, Curry was telling me that he
sound.
was like in bed for 4 days. Were you that sick too?
Yeah, we literally took turns. Like we would like the first. When I woke up on Christmas Day, I was like, "Holy shit, I am sick! Like I am so sick."
Oh, that's awful.
So I got up and I was up for an hour while the kids opened their presents, and then I went straight to bed. And at that point, Curry was like, "Yeah, I feel that I'm getting sick, but
he's still managing everything."
So
yeah.
I'm like, "Well, I'm going to go sleep for a couple hours." And then it was that point on that, like, I would say for the next 4 days, we were rotating. So like either one of us was always in bed and the other one was just doing all that we could to survive, like just kind of watching the kids and making sure that their needs were taken care of. Like
you guys almost got like opposite sicknesses, right? Like he had a fever and all sinus stuff, and you had like a sore throat.
We had everything the same except for I didn't have I had the sore throat and he did not. And it was like, for me, it was like swallowing razor blades. Like it was so uncomfortable.
So I think that was Whitney and I. Like she had a sore throat and I never got one, but I had a fever.
It wasn't that bad though.
I had a fever of like 104.5.
Yeah, and I never had a fever.
Which at that point, like you're just delirious. Anyways.
Oh no, yes.
See, and I don't know if I could have had a fever because I was like taking ibuprofen every 3 hours. Like I was always making sure that I was medicated because I was in so much pain just in my chest. Like not that was going to like help, but I would take everything I could.
It does suck.
But honestly, like that's life. You know what I mean? Like it sucks that it has to happen on Christmas, but like the reality is it's just like the gifts your kids got this year, unless they got skis, which would have spoiled little brat because I never got skis growing up. But like they'll forget about it. It won't be a memory that they'll have. It'll be a memory that Curry and I will always have, and like how bad that sucked. But like
the kids probably won't remember.
The kids won't remember that.
Oh yeah,
and they'll move on, and life goes on, and yeah.
So Ty's kids are a little bit older. Yeah. I hope they don't believe in Santa still.
No.
But so do your 2 youngest, Justin?
Yeah,
still believe in Santa.
They still believe in Santa. Yeah.
So we had like a little Santa mishap this year.
Oh,
our youngest.
Sad.
Well, our youngest, so Scotty, all leading up to Christmas, I started asking about like, what are you going to ask Santa for? Like at the beginning of November, so I could try to be on top of it.
We do one present from Santa, the rest are from us.
Rest are from mom and dad.
I love that.
So from the beginning of November, and she could never come up with anything. It was like little things that she wanted, like, oh, I want like the mini mart things or whatever, or like just like nothing really big. Like she couldn't come up with anything that she wanted. Yeah, and I was like, okay, so I did all my shopping and I was done with the girls by Black Friday, like completely done. Right.
Well done.
Which is a curse at the end.
Well, it was because I had gotten a few things that I thought she would think was cool. So I was just going to pick one from Santa, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So
made a mistake. Watched Taylor Swift's Eras tour online or on TV.
Like the week before Christmas. Yeah. And
she plays the piano in the damn
was
thing.
Like, I want a piano. And I was like, Scotty, I'm done. Like I'm done Christmas shopping. Like I'm done this year.
Santa,
Like maybe
but
for your birthday. And she's like,
Santa's
Santa
all
will bring
out
it.
of piano keys.
She's like, I'll tell my elf. I'll tell my elf Doc, and Santa will bring me a piano.
Elf Doc.
Elf on the shelf.
Oh, yes,
Its
our
name
elf's
is
name is Doc.
Doc. Okay.
So
Named after Dad, the emergency room doctor.
it is.
Learned professional.
I love it.
But yeah, like, and she wrote her elf a letter to take to Santa
And she told
to get the freaking
every
piano. She told everybody.
person she
and
saw.
every day she woke up, she was like, I cannot wait to get my piano from Santa.
Do you think they know? Do you think kids just know? If I can guilt them into this, I can manipulate them?
Scotty's questioning right now.
She
I don't know if it's
questioned
people
last
from
year.
school.
Really?
She's like, how can Santa really get to every house?
Now she has
How
a
can
big
Santa-
sister, right? So is there
Yeah.
any hints
No,
there?
I don't think so.
No.
She's pretty tight-lipped about it.
Yeah, because she likes
This year she
playing
got to
the
help.
fun of,
Oh,
think-
yeah, because you get them to be part of it.
Izzy's
Yeah,
the
that's
oldest
great.
child, and I think she was kind of the naive one where I think she kind of believed until like last year, and we're finally like,
last year was
all
the
right,
first year. I
you're
think, that
12
she
years
didn't.
old.
She's-
We should
okay.
probably let you in on a secret
Yeah.
before you get made fun of at school.
I think that's where Piper is too. She questions it and she's like, how is this even real? But at the same
Yeah.
time, they're like,
They
they're
want to
worried.
still believe,
They're
too.
worried that if
Yes.
they don't believe,
You don't receive
They're not
they-
gonna
they're
get
not.
something.
It's not going to be as magical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Which
Scotty's
is
like,
really kind of fucked up when you think about it.
But it's so true, don't
how
you
come
think?
that Santa looks
why
like that?
why would we set our kids up for that disappointment when it could have been just as magical without lying about this fake man?
I agree. I do think Santa is fun. It's all in fun. It's all in the spirit of giving, right? Like
Yeah.
it's good fun, but I also do understand why some parents are choosing not to do that.
But like,
anymore.
couldn't it still be just as magical growing up
Do you mean without Jesus or
with
without
them
Santa?
knowing that he's not real, but it's still like
So which one?
the idea.
So how do
they're
you, how
both
do you,
not real in my mind.
how
so-
do you,
Same.
how do you approach it though? Of like, Santa's not going to bring you a gift. You're like, imaginary me's not going to bring you a gift. Or how do you like approach that? You know,
Well,
the kids are
probably
acting up.
not with that attitude. Bradley, so you're saying the only reason you want to do Santa is to keep
Well,
them
no,
in line.
but when the kids are acting up around Christmas time, that's what you always say, right?
I never use Santa to control my kids.
You don't use it as a weapon.
Oh, fuck no. I think that is so...
I'm sure your husband does when you're not around.
No,
for
no,
sure,
no,
for sure.
No, he will not. He will not dare.
I'm gonna
I will
confirm.
never. To me, that's like that's what people do with Jesus. That's what they do with God.
religion,
That's what they
yeah.
do with religion. Like, I am not going to use these fake like people to control my children. Like, no, I will not.
So Justin's that kind of person, everyone.
Well, this explains a lot why Brad has those big bags of coal underneath the Christmas tree leading up. That way they're really excited when there's actually presents on Christmas morning.
Oh my gosh. No, Scotty
Here, I
knows.
thought I was naughty.
Scotty is just like, well, Christmas Eve, she's like, I can't wait for Christmas morning because there's going to be so many presents under the tree. Like, and she does not, as much as Brad will say, like, hey, you're throwing a fit. Like, well, like sometimes they'll be like, hey, your elf is watching you.
She doesn't give a shit.
That's because Brad, she knows she can be the little shit. And that she will wake up that morning and damn
She
right, there will be a
absolutely
piano
knows.
waiting
Every-
for her.
That's
Every
the manipulation type.
So
That's
every
the
other
manipulation.
every other year, we've hid every single present. This year, after the Black Friday stuff, we got some presents in, and we just wrapped them in our room and we left them in there unnamed. And then
Oh,
so
this
Scotty,
was like 5 presents each. Like
So
we
this
had
is 5
already wrapped
presents
some of
each,
the
right?
other things.
so
this
Whitney
was just
has
like
them in
remnants.
piles because there's no names on them. And so Scotty's like, whose pile is whose? I want to know.
Of course.
Oh,
Because it's a tit for tat. And so Izzy had like one extra present in the whole like week leading up to Christmas. She was so mad. And whenever I would take a present like before Black Friday, like I would buy one with her of like, if you want this, I can get it for you for Christmas, but you cannot touch it or open it until Christmas. And I kept telling the kids I take them to work and hide them, which we don't, but that's what Scotty thinks. And so she's like, you need to go to your work and you better get those presents. Like all the way to Christmas Eve.
All Christmas
You
Eve,
better
she's
go
like, you
get
have
those.
to go to work.
Izzy has more presents than I do. So you need to go and get my presents from your
I
work.
see. So my personality is that I would intentionally make sure that she had less presents than
She
everyone
did
else.
actually have less presents
And
this
if
year.
she threw a fit, I would throw her presents away.
What?
That is literally
we're
my
not going to
personality.
use a fake man, to manipulate our children, but we're going to do that.
Listen.
So we'll belittle them.
Far be it from me to tell any of you, my best friends in the world, how to parent. But I would strongly suggest you never give your kids manners books.
That's what I was.
You know what?
I would
That's
give her
going
a
on
manners
next
book.
year's Christmas list.
Don't do it.
That is
not worth it.
hilarious.
I actually
40
think it means more
years
coming
later.
from grandma than
does,
from mom and dad.
Yeah, that's true. Someone who was never around me to begin with.
Yeah, I can tell you.
So Santa faux pas 2023. Okay, so we wrapped all the presents.
Oh, yeah. So,
Black Friday-ish time. And we
just picked one from Santa,
We just
right?
picked one for Scotty. Have no idea what it was a month later.
I know what it is, but it already had like the tag
Well,
on
a month
it.
later, you didn't know what it was.
Oh, I know what it is.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And it says like to Scotty from Santa. Well, when we were getting everything out Christmas Eve,
We were suckers
We
for
had-
one. So
we
rewind a week.
freaking
We
got
were
the piano,
suckers. We got the damn
right?
piano.
It showed up,
Showed up Christmas
literally
Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Oh my goodness.
So we got that wrapped, and then when we're putting presents out, I found that other one that we had
From Santa.
from Santa,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
I put it on the couch. My intent was to take it because both of our girls' birthdays are just a few weeks after Christmas, so I thought we'll just save it for her
Oh
birthday.
yeah, just pull it and
Take off Merry Christmas,
idea.
put Happy Birthday. You're good to go.
perfect.
Forgot it. Left it on the couch.
Left it on the couch, on the arm of the couch.
No.
So we had set the piano up in the other room
And put
and kind of hid it. That way, we wanted to see it for the first time, right? So we didn't want her to come down because she's going to sneak out of her room. The girls are going to sneak out of the room and go down. So we hid that one. But then in the morning, she wakes me up and she's like, I found my gift from Santa. And I'm thinking the piano. And I'm like, oh, shit, that sucks.
we wanted to see that.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's on the couch.
It was set aside for me.
And you're like,
And I was like, oh, shit. So we go downstairs. I'm like, I
Santa
totally
brought you
left
two
that.
this
I
year.
totally forgot.
Oh,
So
no.
luckily, she got a little distracted.
Oh.
And I was able to hide that one.
And put
away.
another one there.
Well, no,
No, just hide it. And then
just hide it in general. And
she
she's
was like,
"Where's
where
that
is that?
present?"
Where's my Santa present? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not seeing it. So we're
Must
opening
have
gifts.
got
And I'm like,
lost
I
in
don't
all
know.
the other presents.
So Brad's like, once we're almost all the way through with presents, you got up to go in the living room to
And I
like
pulled
pull
the
it
piano
out.
out and put it in the middle of the room and the bow and everything else.
oh,
right?
nice.
But I went in there to get a cup of coffee, and I come in. I'm like, "What the heck?" Scotty runs in and just dies.
She's like, oh my gosh, my gift turned into a piano.
Oh my
It was
gosh,
so
that's
It
hilarious.
was
It was so small.
It was so
on
small.
the couch. It's so small.
It's magical.
It was like the most magical Christmas
is
for her
awesome.
because that gift turned into a piano.
She was telling everyone about it. Like, I had a gift from Santa. It was this big, and it turned into a piano. Like, everyone's trying to figure out what the hell she's talking about. And it was
That is
parents screwed up.
hilarious.
They called an audible, and they
Well
somehow
done.
made it work.
Well played.
But oh man,
Justin,
Oops.
you mentioned that Curry doesn't see his like that they don't include you guys at all.
Yeah.
Is that hard for Curry at all? Like, I know on Thanksgiving he said he's kind of made peace with that, and I get that. But Christmas tends to be, I think, a little bit of a harder holiday for most people than Thanksgiving or other holidays.
Yeah, I think it was for the first couple of years because that's what, like, you know, they do their traditional or their traditions and they have like a what they call a barn party where they go into a barn, which is a luxury barn. You know.
Does somebody own this barn? Or?
His
More of an
family.
event center
His family.
than
Yeah,
barn.
exactly.
Nice.
You know, and it was something that was very special to him growing up and being with his family, and that's something they all looked forward to doing. And so that, and then, you know, they have their traditions and his family is, I would say, a lot like yours, where they spend a lot of time with each other. Just in general. And so the holidays, they had all kinds of like traditions that they would do together.
if you follow the guidelines,
Yes.
If you're invited.
Yeah. And quite honestly, it's really if you're not gay, because there's plenty of others that have, you know, but Yeah. And so
Story for another time.
yeah. But no, it's a great question. And it's something that like, I know we talked about it on Thanksgiving of like, I know what it's like to still have access to that. And so in my mind, I feel bad, but I don't think he does. I think he's healed from it and he's moved on, and that he does look forward to the traditions that we've created within our own family.
Oh, I love that.
And I also think like it's been so long, we don't even know them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
like at this point,
Well, this is
like it would be awkward. I think.
they're strangers almost.
Yes.
because you guys were
Yes.
telling this, and I don't know if it's my place to say it or share it, but you were telling us that this year was the first year that they did not reach out to Curry and or his daughter from his previous marriage.
Yes, that is correct.
So,
Yeah. And reasons behind that is I think Curry made it clear that like, look, you chose not to be a part of my life. Like, don't be a part of my life.
well, they only included,
don't pick and choose.
which is kind of sad because they only
Yeah.
kind of included your guys' kids from his previous marriage and not yours and Curry's kids.
yeah, and that's kind of
You know,
where
like here's presents for these two kids, but the other two we don't know who they are and don't want to know, so they don't get presents.
yeah, you're absolutely right. So Curry
sucks.
Curry has our two oldest kids were from his previous marriage, and it's odd. It's just odd to me because our oldest was adopted, so it's not even like he was Curry's blood.
Biological.
But, but they
Right.
accepted him as
Because he adopted him when he was straight. Person.
Yeah. But yeah, our two little ones, they don't want anything to do with and don't consider them their grandkids. And so
Christ-like.
that was the awkwardness that like, you know, for a while, like
Unconditional love.
Maybe a manners book coming their way.
yeah,
Somebody needs one, right?
for a while, like, you know, we tried to play nice and we weren't allowed at their home, but they actually, for the first couple of years, would come over and watch this is before we had the two little ones. They would come over and watch our older kids open their presents, and they would bring a gift for them and a gift for Curry.
Would they
my
ask? Would
gosh.
they ask you to leave the room?
Justin,
you're making
could you go
this-
ahead and leave?
You're making this
All but.
uncomfortable.
No
Could you
gift
please-
for you, though.
Never a gift for me. It was never an acknowledgement
Why
that I
even
was
show
even
up?
in
That-
the picture.
To me, that is so embarrassing on their end. Like, you're showing up with gifts, but not for everybody. Like, that is so messed up. It's so
is.
weird.
But I mean, it shows
really
their true
petty.
colors, really.
Well,
right?
yeah, and you know, like I don't want to badmouth them because I've gotten to a point where I have been able to forgive and let go and not hold animosity towards them. It really just baffles me, even to this point, though. Like, it just baffles me that you have a son that's just living a happy life. That's literally what he chose to live, a happy life. Like, he didn't harm anybody. He didn't harm them. He didn't harm, like,
he just chose to be
he
authentic
just chose
to who he is.
happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And literally 10 minutes away, and there's like zero relationship, you know? And so I think the holidays for a while, like, you know, the first half of our marriage were always, there was a lot of like sadness, I think, around that, and a lot of hesitation of like, well, how are we going to handle this? Or what, you know, like what happens when they show up at the doorstep with gifts? Because like our kids don't know them. They don't hear from them.
Yeah.
They don't see them all year round, but all of a sudden they show up with gifts. And it was to a point where finally we just said, hey, like, you know, they brought a gift over for Piper, like when Piper was like 1, and then when she was 2, and then when she was 3, they brought something over, and it was like way off size. And we're just like, this is like so fitting, because they don't even know what she looks like. They don't even know what size she is. Like, and so we just returned it and said, hey, please don't bring gifts anymore. Like, it's clear that like
You have no idea.
this is nothing.
Yeah.
You don't
like,
know who this child
yeah,
is.
these gifts mean nothing to these kids. They mean nothing to us. And obviously they mean nothing to you. It's out of obligation at this point.
Let us let you off the hook.
Yeah. And so, so this is the first year that Curry didn't hear from his parents for his birthday or Christmas. And quite honestly, I think he was a little relieved. Like, he's like, you know what? They finally got the message. Like, don't keep reopening this wound for me when like I've already mourned, I've already grieved the loss of you.
Unless you mean it, don't make it
exactly. Like, and so, and I do think like he, like, not to speak for him, but we do have this conversation often and we talk about it a lot. I don't think he has this sense of like, oh, I'm missing out, or I wish I was a part of that. I feel like, we do our own thing, and we have, my siblings come over and we'll have meals with us. And sometimes we'll go to Idaho, and like for him, like
you've created your own traditions as your own family.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And it's what works for us, and it's what we look forward to. And so, yeah.
Well, and I think as things get magnified, we talked about like divorces and things like that. I think as those events come up, focusing back in on nuclear, immediate family kind of helps to buffer the noise that can come from those sorts of situations that might be more awkward than they really need to be.
Yeah, totally. But I also think it is a good thing, like it, because we have experienced that. And because it still is in our mind, regardless of whether it affects us or not anymore, like it's still on our mind.
Sure.
It's something I think about a lot when I'm scrolling through social media, and you see people, you can see where social media can really mess people up.
Oh, for sure.
Because we've healed from it and we've kind of created our own thing. But I think about those who haven't, or who maybe this is their first year without their family. Yeah. Maybe this is the first year they just came out of the closet and their family excluded them from Christmas. And now they're sitting at home alone and they don't have anybody. But yet they're scrolling through all of these pictures.
Look at my best life.
Yes, look at me with my family. Mm-hmm. Oh, this season is all about family. Oh my gosh, I love this. Like, does that make sense? Which only magnifies it for those who don't have that.
Well, it's probably magnified for the people posting it, in all honesty, right?
Absolutely.
Like, this was the best Christmas ever, but yet they were fighting with their spouse or their kid ran
social
away.
media is not real.
Yeah. And one of my favorite memes of all time, and it's been 20 years since I read it, but it was one of those cards that has like the Victorian little cartoon on it. And it said, on your birthday, I wish for you the life that you live on Facebook.
Yeah.
So good.
It is
it's my
very
favorite
easy.
Of all time.
That should be a topic we talk about too, because social media is so easy to get.
That's a good.
It's easy. I mean, everybody puts their best foot forward. And I even feel like sometimes everybody has an angle.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like even to, I think sometimes the people showing the bad side of their day, or like
it's either look how good my life is, or hey, I would really like somebody to reach out right now because I'm feeling low, or people are picking on me.
Can I just tell you the cringy, like the one I cringe the most?
What's that?
We would love to hear that.
Is when people post how many presents are under their fucking tree.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What?
I didn't. Well, a lot of people will post.
I don't know that it's necessarily on purpose, but even if they're taking like
just the picture of
their
the tree,
pajama photos, do you know?
Yes.
And then behind there's just like,
I'm glad
just
Brad
tons
and
of
Whit
presents.
didn't take their sleepwear photos this year.
They did.
Oh, we did.
Oh, wait, what?
And I commented. I
mean the ones we talked about on the episode where they're naked.
Oh, that one's coming up in the summer. It's a little chilly right now.
That's part of the paid subscription.
I'll go on my social
Christmas
media
in
fast
July.
that week.
We took our obligatory picture, and I left the tags on my pajamas so she could return them. Do you think they're going to get returned?
They're absolutely not.
But even if they do get returned, 80% of that gets returned ends up in the freaking landfill, regardless of whether it has a tag on
Fine,
it or not.
Anyone listening, if you want Brad's pajamas,
I got about 6 years worth, very lightly used.
Take them to the PACU and have somebody post surgery. Just have them put them on them.
Listen. You all heard it here. Next year, when Brad is excluded from the pajama picture, now you know.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
I'll be
all
sleeping
about. I think pajamas are great. Like honestly, This year we did not do pajamas, and it was one thing that Piper like was looking forward to, and we did not do pajamas.
Yes, because
But
it's a tradition.
can I just say, maybe let's not do Christmas themed pajamas, because
Yeah, I
I
agree with
guarantee those are not getting worn more than 2 or 3 times.
By the adults, absolutely not. By the kids, my kids will wear them all year round.
Well, we talked about it this year too, of maybe on Thanksgiving, we'll give them to the kids. The Christmas pajamas, and that way they can wear them all
Christmas season, yeah, for sure. But back to your picture with like all of the gifts under the tree.
Yes.
I've noticed that the last few years, because I used to be guilty of that. Like, and it wasn't ever like I never looked at it as a bragging thing of like, oh, look at how many gifts are under my tree. Like, it was always like
The magic.
Look, I got everything out. Yes, like Santa came, that magical picture. I do now view it differently. Like I didn't post a picture like that this year because there are so many who don't have or don't like, you know, and so this year I was just like, nobody needs to see that magic but me. This is one day I'll get around to scrapbooking this, you know, and it will go in like a family book.
The magic can be felt within your family and remembered, and that's really all that matters. Like, there are too many people who are just trying to survive, and they see that and they just feel like shit because they don't have it in their own home.
Well, and there's so much pressure around
Amen.
that holiday anyway.
Yes,
and
it really is.
like there's so much leading up to that, and then to just see where everybody's posting like how magical it is or how happy they are. Like it's a hard holiday.
Yeah.
There's a lot expected of people.
This year we tried to do is it the giving tree? What do they call that?
Yeah, we did the
The
giving tree.
salvation giving tree or the angel tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so my work did that. And so I got one for all of us. So one for me, one for Whitney, and one for the 2 kids.
Nice.
So the kids had to go and shop for their person. And it was actually kind of cool.
It's good for kids to.
It was actually kind of cool.
We've
Our
done that. Like, we
6-year-old,
do
she
that a
didn't
lot in the past, but
quite
it's usually was like we'll
get
get
it.
a couple people and then we basically Brad and I go and shop for them. So it was
Nice.
it was good for the girls.
It was good for the girls. Like the one disconnect with it is the kids don't get to see the person's reaction and what it means to them.
Right.
It's they get it, they put it in a bag, and Dad takes it to work.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so,
Right. But I also
that part
think
of
like
it was,
I also think it's almost a little bit like self-serving by seeing it at the same time.
Yeah, kind of.
Do you know what I mean?
But,
Like,
yeah.
like
you just
like,
have to know in your
I
heart
get
that
it.
it's
like you
given
want your
for the
kids
good.
to see like who they're
As an
helping, and it's
adult,
part of their feeling. But
I
at
would
the
say
same
as an
time,
adult,
it's like
yes, the kid can't process that. I don't think.
yeah, that's true. That's a good
But
point.
I think a kid seeing
That's a
it
good
where
point.
another kid gets it and they're like,
They feel
I haven't had that shit in 3 years.
yeah,
And now they're getting something.
yeah.
Although, to be
think that
honest
would
with
be
you,
huge.
we have done like my family has done the giving tree since I was little because my grandpa worked at the credit union and they always had one in the lobby. So
that's cool.
every year we did that. And I remember like it always touched me as a kid that people would put like little kids would put on their thing that what they wanted was a fridge because they didn't have a fridge at home or that they wanted something for their parents because their parents didn't have it. Like even as a kid, I remember being very touched by the fact that I had a lot of stuff and these kids didn't have anything.
Totally.
Yeah. I picked 2 kids at work and 2 elderly.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny to watch like what they want. Right?
Yeah,
Like some of the
a
kids want.
Sudoku book.
Yeah.
It was so,
Or like
so
new
did you
slippers.
see my
or,
latest
yeah.
So on all of the elderly ones, it was a comfy robe and
Oh,
slippers.
that is cute.
I love
That is
on
cute.
every single one of them. But then on the kids, it was like you could tell that, like they put a toy on there, and then like the parents wrote diapers or clothes
yeah,
this size.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
So when you picture your Christmas that you just had, and me, maybe I'll think about one that I
different
had
Christmas.
last year. 'Cause it's not fair to compare, but like, how was it different? How is it different now than when you were growing up, and like what Christmas was like for you growing up?
It's a great question.
man, for me, it's pretty much the same. Minus like it's all family based. Except for
You're
now,
still getting all the
we
presents.
didn't
Now
do
it's not your family.
we didn't do the 5 Christmas thing growing up. I think we did a couple times. I think we did a couple times, and that was about it. But most of the time, we would do Christmas Eve. So I guess it's completely different. Not even close to the same.
Well done.
Now that I'm thinking about it, absolutely not.
Yeah. So we used to do everything Christmas Eve. So that's when we would go to my grandparents' house, and all the cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody would come over. And that's when we would do the obligatory presents that they would give out, and it was all pajamas. And then Christmas, we would wake up, do our presents, and then we would just hang out at home.
Were your pajamas Christmas-themed pajamas, or were they just pajamas?
I can't recall.
I'm going to see if I can find some pictures from growing up.
Yeah, I can't recall.
I don't remember this craze of like
Christmas
themed
I don't think
pajamas.
I don't think
like,
they were. I think they were like generic.
And maybe they were just red and green.
That's what I think. I don't think that there was a like
trees and bears.
Yeah,
and,
I don't
it
think
was
that
like
was a
lumberjack. We
Right?
always had the
Yeah,
lumberjack plaid.
yeah.
This seemed like
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
That
like
was
plaid
ours this
warm
year.
pajamas.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, that's true.
with reindeer ears.
That's
The reindeer ears is
loved
the
it.
part that I was disturbed by.
That's the part you
I knew
liked.
Brad was a furry. I knew it.
Pulled it out of my closet.
Brad, you can only wear it once a week now to work. They're cutting you off.
Ty, what about you? What did your Christmas look like?
Similar things. Like I remember this epic Christmas party at my grandparents' house up until I got the manners books and stopped attending. But the fun thing was my dad and my uncles, we would all pile in our station wagon and they would drive the kids around looking for Santa Claus in the sky, which was kind of fun.
Oh,
back
that's
then.
fun.
So we used to do things like that. But my cousins all lived around my grandparents. So it was always fun when we got all the family together because we weren't usually included in all of that. So I loved going over there until I didn't. But yeah, it was super fun. My parents, one of the things that I think is different as I ask my kids and badger them every year for what they want from quote unquote Santa. Now, my youngest is 14, so obviously they are well in the know at this point. But they have a hard time coming up with stuff. In fact, only what my two daughters, the 20-year-old and the 14-year-old, kind of knew what they wanted. But I could not get my 17-year-old son to tell me anything. So I just guessed, and luckily I guessed pretty well. But I remember growing up, there was always something. Mm-hmm. It was laser tag. It was a Nintendo. It was, specific Nintendo games. Like it seemed like there was always one thing that I had my eyes on.
That you looked
Trampoline,
forward
a bike.
to.
Yeah.
Yes.
That I
Yep.
was like, if this doesn't show up, my life ends.
Yeah.
And I was a spoiled brat, so I always got that thing. But
But it was always one thing.
yeah, it was
Right,
a
that you wanted.
skateboard one year, in seventh grade and things like that. Like I had one thing that I was really focused on. And my kids, like, have I done it all wrong? Like,
It's
do
the
I
life,
give
it's the
them
life
too
of
much?
excess
Like,
right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes to, do you buy your kids stuff all year long?
Yes.
yes, but
And if you don't, do they with their allowance or whatever that
I
they
think that's it. They work and for example, with Fiona, like you could almost write it off as needs because she's getting dresses, she's getting workout clothes,
Yeah.
she's getting things like that all year long. But yeah, like she gets tons of shit.
Well, I think you think about the society that we live in and what, like, even just with ourselves, like it's something that Curry and we actually don't give each other gifts for our birthdays or for Christmas because it's like, we've always just, if you want it, you give.
Do you open stuff on
you
Christmas?
buy- No.
No.
No, because
So
why?
we
'Cause
we kind of fell into that trap this year a little bit.
I just feel like, why? Like you're buying stuff just to open for a present rather than like, and it'll never get used. It's stuff that like, how many gifts do you end up by July or even by the end of the year? You're already putting in the take it to the DI list because you will never use it. But it was a gift to open. Does that make sense? Like we got so sick of that. But I think like going back to the kids thing is they're being fed that same thing, whether, you know, it's social media, it's Snapchat, it's what their friends have. It's like, and it's a society that's a impulsive, we need to have it now society that I feel like has fed that, because I agree. Like Christmas used to be where you would have tons of ideas of like what to get or what to give. And now it's like, my kids have everything that they need and probably mostly everything that they want to, but yet I feel the pressure to give more and to make, like it's so, sure. It is really kind of unfortunate when you think about it.
Yeah. Luckily, like we as a family have a pretty expensive hobby. So I get to roll a lot of Christmas stuff under the guise of, it's for skiing. And it's stuff that they would need anyways, because they're still growing. Yeah. So they've grown out of the old stuff, got to replenish it. So I can kind of sneak some things in that way. For example, Ivy got some new bindings and stuff for her snowboard this year. So that's, luckily I have some of those ideas, but yeah, I mean, Lennox, the little sucker, like I could not get him to choose anything. He's just like, I'm good.
Yeah. And most of the gifts we bought our kids are going to be either they're already useless at this point of like the open up this surprise thing that you'll play with for 10 seconds, or it's going to be gone in 2 months, most of the stuff.
Well, and it's fun because 6 months from now, when you actually start clearing out some of that stuff, all of a sudden they're the favorite toys again.
That is the absolute fucking worst thing ever. I hate it every time. I have to go through the 6-year-old stuff for sure when she's not home, and I put it in a bag, and then I put the bag away for a month or two. And if she doesn't ask for anything out of it in that time, it gets donated.
That's brilliant. I remember building a little playhouse for Ivy. And it was the worst construction ever. But we cut plywood up, put it all together, and it was like this little schoolhouse playhouse, fabric roof, and everything like that. And for a little while, we had a babysitting group. And so Ivy would like to teach school in there, so she'd get all the little kids in there and have school and everything like that. But after a while, that just all went away. And we just had this massive playhouse in the basement taking up all this space. When we went to get rid of that thing, you would have thought she was going to be homeless if that thing disappeared.
Oh, wow.
She was not pleased about that, but it did go away.
Okay, but I remember, this is same thing, but I had like this stuffed animal. It was a bunny rabbit that was dressed up like as a magician, like had a bow tie, had a top hat. I loved that thing. I kept it in the basement. I would go down and I would play with like all my stuffed animals and that. And then one day it disappeared. And I was like, where the hell did this thing go? Like I was playing with that. Like, and it was just gone. My parents had donated it, they didn't really fancy
But your parents' story is she hadn't played with that thing in like 4 years. It was in the basement.
That's hilarious.
It was dusty.
I probably just picked it up and I had been playing with it, but it was probably also that thing of like, I had just found it downstairs and started playing with it and they didn't know.
Yeah. I got upset when my little brother's Teddy Rock Spin got donated because it had my Metallica tape in it, because you could put any other music into Teddy Rock Spin and he'd sing it.
Oh, that's
so we had him singing Metallica,
goodness.
And then it went away and I was like, oh, dang. My
really
Master of Puppets was in there.
That's funny.
Do you guys have any like traditions you do with your family or games you play during Christmas or anything like that?
No. And I actually told Curry that this year that we need to start doing more games. Yeah. That was something like growing up, we would play a lot of games on Christmas Eve. We would do a great big Christmas Eve dinner. And then living out in the country, like there wasn't a lot of like friends and we only had one.
Like played stickball.
Stick ball.
Well, I didn't grow up in the 1910s.
Seems like
you had a metal hoop and a stick, and you'd run the hoop down the street.
There was usually snow on the ground. But like, but that's one thing is I like when I was really little, I remember we would, whether there was snow on the road, we would like make our way down to our cousin's house. It was about a half mile down the road, and we played games all night long. And it was usually Risk or like
Risk isn't all night long.
Totally. And that was like those were memories that I will always have. And that was like the magical part of Christmas for me. Cause like being the youngest in the family or the second to youngest in the family, Christmas for me was my family all coming home. So by the time I was in the first grade, my oldest sibling was graduating from high school. And so Christmas was all about all of my siblings coming home and being that kind of time of like connecting. We never had, and I think, my parents weren't wealthy people. So like, it was never really, the gifts were exciting and the whole idea, like there wasn't a lot of emphasis on Santa, even though Santa did show up, but like Christmas was about Jesus growing up. Like,
yeah. Yep.
Like it was, my mom tried her hardest not to even bring Santa into the equation, but bless her heart, we always had gifts from Santa. But those, like, I honestly, like, our parents probably spent maybe $150, $200 a person on Christmas. Like, and I wouldn't say that I ever felt like I didn't have a good Christmas.
Definitely. Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Same.
And so that just like, I think about that now and like what I do for my own kids. I'm just like, what spoiled little brats. And they're getting gifts all year long or things all year long. Like,
Yep.
it's such a different day and age. It's crazy. I wish we could get back to that more simpler time, that it was about playing games, that it was about getting together with family and
spending the
cousins
time
and-
together.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not about what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think as my kids have moved past Santa, it has become more about giving. Like they're very conscientious about, did I get something for my brother? Did I get something for my sister?
Yeah.
Or in Lennox's cases, my sisters. They, especially the older two who have jobs and, make their own money and things like that. Like they actually are enjoying the giving portion of it. So that's
good.
super fun. I think that's something that we've been able to focus on and yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my family, we started a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago with my siblings. So as the adults, we always go out before or after Christmas and we do like an adults like super nice dinner. So
At Taco Bell.
I love
At
that.
Taco
Yeah.
Bell.
I love that.
Well,
You
no,
get
we
dressed
go
up.
Olay.
You go in.
we at least go to JCW's
Gracias.
Burgers.
So you don't do gifts to each other. You just go out and do a nice dinner with everyone.
Yep.
I love
Yeah,
that.
and it's
Love
just the
that.
adults. We get
Super cool.
babysitters. And we go buy expensive steaks, and I swear every time my brother pays, so he's doing all right. for
He's
himself.
been very nice.
He's
to
been very
everybody.
generous to everyone, which is great.
Oh, that's
Because
cool.
some of the people don't have money,
Yeah.
but every time we go out and have a nice dinner, have a glass of wine for those. He won't buy wine for people, but he'll buy the dinner. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. that's
He'll buy the
hilarious.
dinner for everyone. So we do that with the adults, but then when we're with the whole family, on my side, about 5 years ago, we started playing a game called Left, Center, Right. Have you heard of this?
yes.
I've heard of
With the
this.
dice.
It's like, I don't know if it's like a religious approved gambling. I don't know.
Oh.
But you basically start with $3.
Well, you don't have to. It comes with tokens.
It comes
in
with
it.
tokens, but
So
the
you don't
thing
have to
is,
play
True.
with money.
people
We just
buy
always
into
do.
it. Yeah. And I think most people I talk to
Oh,
do
I
this.
play this at work.
So you put $3
Yes.
in front of you, right?
And
The
the
Like-
dice
religious
have
work.
like triangle or like left, center, and
Yeah.
then
Put it in
a
the-
circle.
yeah,
Like
so you put it in the pot.
If it has a dot, you lose $1 or
or
something.
you
like
get to
that.
keep it or something.
the dot is you keep it. There's a left, there's
okay.
a center, and there's a right.
Yes. Yes.
So you
okay.
want the dots because you get to keep your stuff.
Yes.
So we've been playing that the last couple of years. I think the last couple of years, Whitney and I have financed it where we've just gotten a bunch of ones from the bank. You
Nice.
get like $100 in ones and it pays for everybody. But the winner takes all.
Right.
So it's not a first, second, third
Yeah,
place. It's
yeah.
literally
No,
one
Yeah,
person
you're
walks
winning.
away
One
with
person
everything.
gets the whole
that's
pile.
awesome.
And so everybody's usually like, bring $3. I'm like, oh, that sucks because only one person wins and everyone else loses.
Yeah.
And so we started doing 3 rounds of it. So you have to bring $9.
Oh,
and then this year, my sister-in-law switched it up. She was like, let's do little gifts instead of money. It can be a pack of gum. It can be a pack of Oreos. It can be
Kind of like
a
white elephant
face
gifts.
mask.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
basically.
Yeah.
So
Like-
when you win, you're winning this
This pot of
hoard
gifts.
of stuff.
Oh,
right?
that's hilarious.
And so we did that. So we did $2 each round. We did $2 and a gift, and it was just funny to see what everybody brought. right, like my little brother, like they bought like a Nerf gun for one of them.
A puzzle.
We bought like a waffle iron for one of them.
That's awesome.
Like it was just funny. So
That's awesome.
and the adults and kids all play together. And like one of them was like a scrunchie. And for like our youngest one, she loves Nutella. So we got like these little Nutella jars for like $1.50.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Whoever
Like, it was
wanted,
good,
she kept stealing it from their pot. But
yeah. It was a good time though. Like that's a fun tradition.
It was fun.
Yeah, I love
to
that.
go and play and how, and
And did
everyone
somebody
young
win?
and old can play.
Did somebody win everything?
Well, we played three
different
rounds.
people
Oh,
won.
I
So,
see.
But yeah,
we didn't kick that person out, but we were kind of saying like, hey, if one
Did they
person
win
wins
both times?
twice,
I see.
no.
Yeah.
So we did 3 rounds, but 3 different people won.
Okay.
Well, and that's
All
the
right.
thing there is no skill
In
There's
that
no
game.
in that
skill.
game. It is
Yeah.
literally
None
just
whatsoever.
pure luck.
Everybody
So,
starts doing their Las Vegas rolls with their
Yeah,
dice. And all that
totally.
stuff. It's
Nice,
pretty funny.
nice.
licking the dice.
And when the
stuff.
16-year-old
I'm
when the
gonna try that next
16-year-old won the condoms, was he excited about it?
Joan got those.
That's my mom. That's my mom.
I won't buy the wine, but you can have the condoms, son.
Oh God,
Yeah, it was pretty fun this year doing that.
it was fun.
Because some people spent like $5 a gift. Some people spent like 30 cents on theirs.
Well,
But it was good.
does everybody remember what their favorite Christmas present they ever received is, or like their favorite one as a kid, or? It's so hard to think about because, like you, Ty, said, you always had that one gift you really wanted.
Yes.
And looking back, I can remember like getting a bike one year that I really wanted, or
Awesome.
getting a trampoline, like we all got a trampoline, or
Oh,
like
nice.
stuff like that. But it's hard to go back and be like, yeah, this one gift stands out. For you, was it the skis?
It was hands down the skis.
Skis.
That was so great. Yeah. Because I had kind of these Frankenstein skis before that had these ancient like spring loaded bindings and stuff like that. And so finally my new skis like had real like Tyrolia bind. And anyways, yeah, hands down.
Yes, of course.
Those are
Those
the best
bindings.
They were even engraved with my name on it.
Oh,
Ooh.
It's fantastic.
so the
Ty's-
Manners book was a downgrade.
That was a downgrade.
Ty's skis cost the amount of my 16
whole Christmas,
Christmases
yeah.
that I ever had.
That's not true.
No,
Only 9 of
honestly,
them.
I don't remember like a gift that I loved and that was like so memorable to me. And I think that's why I probably don't like with my own kids. I don't like, no, I think it's great you went out and got the piano, but like I would have never done that for my own kid, mostly because I know that 2 days later, she would have never even thought about it.
Yeah, we thought the same thing. Scotty's been taking lessons on the iPad.
She's
every
loving
day.
it
All day.
every day.
No, I know.
There's
I know,
always
but-
that
yeah,
chance,
but if
right,
she
that it
didn't
is
have
what they
it,
wanna
I
do.
don't know
It
that
has only
like,
been a week.
like I know with my own kids, like they were all excited about something, and me and
Yeah,
Curry
yeah.
were like, "Oh yeah, like, oops, like we didn't get that," and like they were
Totally.
thrilled.
They're-
They were
they're
thrilled with their
fine with not
Christmas.
getting-
They
yeah.
never said anything about the thing that they didn't get. They were just happy with what they did, and I think that like I have to often remember my own Christmas to like kind of put myself in check of like, look, I never felt like my Christmases were less than or that I didn't have an awesome Christmas and I didn't have all this that I have for my own kids. So
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely more about the feeling
I
that
agree.
people walk away with than the things. Because
Yes, I agree.
years down the road, you're not going to remember the things that you received. Typically, you're just going to remember, I had a great Christmas.
Yeah.
And skiing is kind of my thing.
Yep.
And I
totally.
think that's why that
Totally.
sticks out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
When we were kids, me and my 2 older brothers, so the 3 older boys, we got this. It was a pool table / ping pong table / air hockey table.
Oh yeah, the one that turns into everything.
It turns
That's
into everything.
awesome.
Like looking back, like I think when I was a kid, it seemed regulation size. Now as an adult looking back, it was probably half size. It was pretty tiny. But that was the coolest thing. And it stayed around for years. But
That's
the
cool.
Christmas night, like when we opened it, We stayed up, and my brother got the U2 album, like the Joshua Tree. Oh, yes. So we literally listened to Bono and ate chocolate fudge for 12 hours straight. Stayed up all night. I've never been so sick of my life. That's awesome. It is steered me away from fudge at this point. Still
can't eat it.
But the gift, that table, the all-inclusive table, was awesome.
It's a good gift.
I love me some fudge.
I knew it was coming. I knew
Of
it.
course.
This is honestly super fun though. Like, I think it's awesome to kind of hear just where we've come, like, you know, your backgrounds of what Christmas was growing up, some of those traditions that you still held on to, but then also just the whole, like, life throws you in different paths and different, like, I'm sure, Ty, you never thought about, you know, growing up, what Christmas was going to be like today.
Definitely not.
Does that make sense? But
100%.
But you figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, you figure it out and you create memories regardless of what they are. You're going to create memories.
And this was one of the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Super fun. And I think it's important to share that with people, and hopefully people can connect and know that their traditions are just fine.
Yeah. Let
Get
people
off
know
social
that there's
media.
It's about making memories.
Everyone does it different.
Yep.
Yeah.
And spending it with friends like you guys invited me over. Thank you again.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. See you next time.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode. Don't forget, you can find us online at tipsyneighbors.com, at the Tipsy Neighbors on Instagram, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Tipsy Neighbors. We hope to hear from you soon.